All right, we're all good now. We got all the screens and whatnot going. Good to see you, Brian. Thank you, Mirza. Good to see you, Andrew, Mortimer, and Gav. Good to see you guys, Tallman. All right, so I hope you're all having a meta kind of day. What an absolute screamer. Absolute screamer. I had a feeling Amazon was going to be the dark horse, and it's certainly not bad. But man, oh man, that meta. Issuing a dividend too for a stock? That's big time. So that's all good and well, but then this morning we got some pretty hot employment numbers. The economy's just so good, don't you know? And that, of course, gave you this with the bonds getting smashed down. Last I looked, ZB was down about 1%, maybe a little more. Market's doing what it does best, which is trying to rebuild itself. So it's going to have to get over a couple of benchmarks here. There's going to be one exactly where it started to fail at the beginning of my session. There'll be another one there at the 50. There'll be another one there. So continues to be the same story, right? Working from the out. This is still pretty good. You could tell that at the beginning of my session, and this could change. There's still, well, I guess not. There's still only 2 seconds left in this candle, but you see how they turned off the arrow there. So as long as the 5-minute continues to have arrows up, the pressure is to the upside. The setup itself is actually somewhat mediocre, but anytime that you have neutral readings like this, you absolutely need pressure to the upside. And so I call these buy signals, but that's not really totally accurate. That's really just consider it more pressure. So pressures to the upside, pressures to the upside. It's not confirmed. That's why there's only a single label there. And at least so far on the 2-minute, you have slight pressure to the downside. So as we sit here, you have a perfectly neutral score at 0. That's incredibly rare considering that this indicator goes from -40 to +40. To be at 0 is uncommon. Here you're neutral at -8, and here you're neutral at 3. So pretty much imbalance, and continues to hold. And you have arrows here. Then I actually would look for higher, but overly strong setup at the exact moment. There was a nice little futures trade that set up earlier, right about here. That's the judo signal. But that signal has been at this point. So we'll see what she's got. It's certainly punching, certainly trying. I do think the next move, and this is going to be an unpopular thing to say, I do think the next move might be a short. I don't necessarily know if it's today, but I'm thinking within the next, probably by next Friday, there's going to be a short setting up in there. I definitely want to be short on the week of OPEX, but that is a ways away. And the reason being is you still have a couple of problems here that haven't been resolved. And the meta on stuff is like the perfect way to end this thing, right? It always feels the best right before it ends. And while this is totally sustainable and good and bullish, this is too much. That basically is just, it indicates that it's bullish question, but it is too much and unsustainable. You will not see that extreme label last for very long. So it doesn't mean it has to turn around right away, but there are to be relatively cautious right around here. So we got 2 trades open together. We were looking down the barrel of the abyss, looking down the barrel of the shotgun into the infinite void yesterday on shop, and decided to hold it because of the potential catalyst from Amazon. So far it's up 6% and back in good standing. So why not just take the top off this thing? A lot of folks were shorting this thing. I don't know what this thing got into this thing, but to have this kind of day when the NASDAQ was green on no particular news that I saw was a little bit nah. And that tells me also that a lot of folks got trapped, right? Betting on Amazon earnings and using shop as a proxy is, just as a lower volatility way to do it. But ideally trap some here. The level continues to be 83. You can see everything lines up there. And as long as we hold relatively well today in the indexes, I don't see a reason to exit this. certainly got a nice refund on our hands from yesterday, but the trade is live. The trade is live. I actually added to this yesterday. I did it through selling the $80 puts. So there's two earning plays that I made if I count shop, and maybe my earning streak as the worst earnings trader in the world is over because I've been kind of smashing some earnings lately. So anyone remember Clorox? Anyone remember the conversation we had around Clorox? Did any one of you follow me into Clorox? Any takers? There's on the Clorox. Fair enough. Yeah, I got out yesterday after the report at 156.45, which was the high for like 15, and then it went up to 160. But basically, I was just betting the signal, so that was kind of cool. It's always nice to catch $10. I only had $200 on 200 shares on Clorox of all things. We take that. So talked about that one in the room. There was various trades sent out on Amazon. I didn't feel the need to send trade on Amazon because we effectively have via shop, so that would have either made me very right or very wrong. But I did take some of this myself, so I'm already out of that. And then shop, I added yesterday the short 80s, and I'm already out of that as well. But I am whole our trade, so this could get a little spicy. This certainly could get a little spicy, and it is certainly a lesson in terms of just pot odds, right? And it looks great when it works, and it looks really stupid when it doesn't. But we were looking down. We only had 19% left in the trade, so there wasn't the risk to reward there was wildly skewed in our favor to hold. And of course, the only way you can justify that high momentum stock that is also having a catalyst. In this case, the catalyst being Amazon earnings. So a lot of the sins have been forgiven here. Let's see if we can punch 83. If it gets to 83 again, she should be gone. And lastly, gold in stacks, or lack of gold in stacks in this case. So I'm not sure financially we want to be in any way, shape, or form, considering all of the dynamism literally everywhere else. But Goldman hasn't done anything bad. It hasn't done anything good, certainly, but it hasn't done anything bad. So what was I always ask yourself, what's the reason I got into the trade? The reason I got into the trade was right there, right? Now, has that changed? Well, no, it's a mag plus a squeeze plus my green boys. So that hasn't changed. My level is 382 on a closing basis. If it gets below 382, it's a busto. It hasn't broken that. The hourly was rough shape, but notice the green boy I guess in this case, the yellow arrow that popped up yesterday, and that is also showing thrust confirmed. So now the hourly is fantastic shape, but it is bullish, and it is neutrally bullish. So nothing to do here. I would prefer not to be in financials, but in terms of the setup, there's really not much to change this one either. So there's a little bit of a continued push that we love to see it. Surely they cannot keep going. I do not believe it. And that's that. So I thought I put it on gold this morning. Let me see where it's at. I was looking to buy gold. I left an open order yesterday, and of course the bonds getting smashed got me filled. So I just day traded this. I got filled on 5, made 50 cents per, took it off. But I still am very interested in buying gold. Now, don't you laugh at me, although you have perfectly the rights to do so. But let me show you the setup here on the GLD. And I'm just moving the bonders is kind of BS, right? I don't actually that anyone thinks the Fed will raise. So I think the move in bonds here is probably going to get absorbed pretty quickly. And if that is the case, this is a buying opportunity in gold. So the setup here that I was looking at is right about here. And it's a 2-day squeeze, 3-day squeeze, the green boy, and bull score. So the question is, do I have the cojones to buy gold here? And the answer is I don't know. Well, here's the thing. Do I have the cojones to buy gold? Yes. Do I think it's the proper placement of our cash as a group? And the answer is a strong maybe. I'm sure we could probably find something better that's easier. But don't sleep on gold here. If there's a setup on it, this is it. And today might be the discount price on it. So I'm feeling very good about myself with the Clorox trade. That one feels way better than Amazon. Amazon, I kind of good vibe on. But Clorox, I'm happy I took that shot. So that's that. There was a bug fix for the Hilo Pro. It's a very minor update. Most of you won't even notice it, but I did get mails on it pointing out a bug in the code. So Eric, in typical Eric fashion, fixed it immediately. And so now, if you go to your indicator page by your indicators page by the end of today, you won't get another email. But if you go to the indicator page again, you'll see the update there. It'll be dated February 2nd. Grab the update. You won't notice any major differences. Chances are you didn't even notice the bug, but there was a slight bug in the code. So that's been fixed. So just a heads up there. And aside from that, we can run some scans. We can talk about what you're looking at. We can pray for SPX 5000, whatever you want to do. I am here for it. It seems like we won't stop until SPX 5000. I don't think you come all of this way to lead history books an all-time high with a 4 handle. Right. Let's say that we're going to be looking at the next, this is the next .com. This is going to be the next high for the next 20 years. I just don't see it starting with a 4 handle. I don't see it. I do not believe. $82 on shop. We love it. Somehow our long call is slightly back in the money, which is insane. We went from being down 85% to down 9%. We love that. So yeah, that's what I have. Is the Max Bull scan coming out? It already came out. Yeah, it came out yesterday. We can run it today for sure. We can definitely run it today. Lots of downside. Price not really reacting just because of tech. Yeah, I mean, when you have this much strength in tech, keep in mind the ticks were much less relevant. So that's the key takeaway from that is you have to understand how to read that. It's not as just simple as ticks market up, ticks market down. The market cap of Apple is worth more than the entire Russell. I think Apple is worth more than all of the Chinese market at this point, which is insane. But if the mega cap stocks and Meta is up a cool 21%, think about how many billions of market cap that is. When you have that pressure and Microsoft up 1, Nvidia up 4, just doing Nvidia things, this carries, right? So the ticks are not as relevant here. Now, if you start to get good ticks with those types of tech readings, then yeah, you're just going to go to the freaking moon. But you don't need the ticks when you have tech up this much. You don't need no damn ticks. SMCI, NVIDIA, Meta, and Microsoft. Well, I can pull them up, and I will just because you asked. But again, what do you think I'm going to tell you? These are all one and the same. You might as well have just asked about the QQQ. So really, I don't think any of these are particularly interesting. It certainly is nice if you have them. I don't have any NVIDIA. I did buy some AMD yesterday before the close, but I probably should have just bought NVIDIA because this thing's just never ending. But there's nothing here. Like, what do you want me to tell you? You've officially gone to Mars on this thing. The moon is in your rear view mirror. So what interesting thing could I possibly tell you? Meta, I haven't even looked at Meta's chart today. Let's look at it. They've hit, there was an ancient extension that you're trading through. At this point, might as well just go to 500. So there's nothing for me to tell you here either. So it's just not particularly interesting to look at those, right? Because what am I going to tell you? Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Good job. Keep doing it. So really, what I would do you today is, one, check your emotions, right? Because I would hope most of you are having a good day. Except for the one person in here that's short Meta. Check your emotions, number one. And then number two, remember the index. The index. You asked about SMCI, NVIDIA, Meta, and Microsoft. That's just basically the QQQ and drag. So the index. I do think that it is setting up something short. Now, again, I say that as only as a early warning system, and maybe, and frankly, I have no interest in doing it today at all. But if I start to see the cues here also show extreme, notice how the cues are not showing extreme, whereas the SPX is. If I start to see this Q show extreme, then I'm going to be looking for some short-term signals. And the reason being is you're making these highs on negative divergences. So negative divergences are completely inert until they're not. Price way up here on the Qs, indicator way down, right? Now that doesn't matter till it matters, but when it matters, it matters. So I would steer you from doing a super deep dive into all of these very similar tech stocks and just steer you back to the index. You sold shop into the morning strength. You're cutting your losses to free up mental capital. Well, if you did, it's higher than where you sold it. So I understand. I certainly could get behind that. I could cut it here. Very modest 7% loss. It beats the hell out of 85% loss yesterday. But I don't have signal to do so. And you also have to remember that a lot of folks made mistakes over the last 2-3 days in shop. Right? They either sold it or they were shorted. And if they sold it, now they want it back. If they shorted it, well, now they're unhappy. But it really comes down to the index, right? If I start to see signals in the index, guess what I'll do to shop? I'm going to punt the thing overboard. And if I don't see sell signals in the index, then it's just a hold. So we'll run some. If you have anything, throw in the chat. Ideally, have it be interesting. Have it be something outside the Mag 7, because with the Mag 7, what am I going to tell you? Call you a good boy and tell you to do it again. Not particularly interesting. Adgi here, yeah. I actually saw this signal yesterday. There was an arrow on yesterday's candle. By the puck is really the setup here. This should still have juice. Mara, I actually have some Mara. And this one is interesting. Again, interesting being a relative term. And the reason I say it's interesting is just because there actually is a play here. So the play that I've been looking at is actually I've been in this for a couple of days, and it is underwater. So I'd like a pump here. But the play that I'm looking at here in Mara is setting up. Basically, when Henry took the coin trade, I decided I like the idea. I prefer to do it in Mara. I have a better signal on Mara than I do coin. And I figure they're basically the same thing. And I also mentally, don't tell Henry, I was like, I'm going to be lazy and I'm going to let Henry drive my bus on Mara. So when he exits coin, I'm going to exit Mara. But I don't think he has yet. So in Mara, the setup is right here. Now, again, this one's not going to be as easy as the Mag 7, right? If you want easy trades, buy NVIDIA up 100 ATR. But you see he's slipping down and then it hooks. This is a really important thing here. Everyone knows how to trade up markets, right? Oh, just pull back to the 21, up it goes. They're different. These are reversal structures. So here you have a 50 that's going down and then hooks. What you want to see is for the 50 to be acknowledged as support by price. And you see how after the hook, the 50 is now being acknowledged as support. And you have a pretty strong hourly squeeze here. So I'm in the 19s for this for February. But yeah, this is an interesting setup here. And it can move pretty quickly. Can the extreme label on high-low probe resolve itself by price moving straight to the right, so moving sideways? Yeah, it can. Yeah, this can resolve. This can resolve by kind of cooking sideways. Yeah, you can cook it sideways for a little bit and resolve it. Seas down today. I thought we were never going to look at SeaWorld again. Hey, well, there you go. There's my target. I don't even feel bad at all about this. I did tell you 48 was a target. Honestly, there's no particular reason it should stop here. We held it all through. Like there was a big ass fight here that we held through. I was just exhausted by looking at this thing. I just never want to think about these low volume crap stocks again. But we held through. You see how there's like a fight here that needed to happen, and now the bears are winning the fight. I mean, we had plenty of warning that that would happen. But yeah, good on you if you kept it. But I woke up today very happy not being in SeaWorld. Looks like somebody traded Clorox. Yeah, I was surprised by how much Clorox can actually move. Check this out. I used Danielle's earnings tool on it. And like somebody says Clorox, you think, oh, it's a boring ass stock. For some reason, it's not loading. Yeah, I was going to show you Danielle's earnings tool. For some reason, it's not loading here. Let me try again. I don't know why it's not loading. But yeah, I mean, if you look back at the historical earnings on this thing, it has had 7-8% moves. Pretty common. JPM had a judo move this morning on the hourly and has a squeeze on the daily. I'm interested in JPM only because of Goldman. Someone on YouTube got stuck in a gold call you put on yesterday. We'll go back to gold. I turned mine into a day trade just because after I got filled, I was like, what am I doing? Trading gold. But there actually is a setup there. We'll go back and take a look at gold. Judo. This one's not quite judo. You could call it that, but you're bending the rules a little bit. So basically, JPM here has a very similar, slightly weaker structure than Goldman. So JPM had all these signals up here, thrust signals. You see how it actually, and the reason it's not a judo move is because you're going back too many bars. You got the here, and the last down bar was here. So there's 3 bars in between. So yeah, JPM here has the same signal as pretty much all the financials. It's not overly special, although it is one of the better setups in the space. So Goldman here, you can see it's a little cleaner, just a bit, because it has the exact same signal right at the midline. But yeah, they're all basically one thing. All right, surely they cannot take out the high. Imagine how frustrated bears would be if they take out this high, which almost certainly guarantees it. The market is a cruel mistress in that way. Avgo. Yeah, the only thing so far, and granted, I'm the one that brought it, that looks viable to me, fresh, is Mara. Now, granted, you have to mind your risk there, but it does actually have a setup. With Avgo, you're on the right side of thrust. So this one basically nailed the top perfectly. And now you're on the right side. So if you're looking for a semiconductor play here, ideally get it closer to about 1208 to 1210. But yeah, this is in play again. We got some questions on the YouTubes. UNP. Did any of you end up holding that CNI? I sold it early on purpose just to make sure everybody could get out. This is a monster setup, though. I don't know if I'll ever trade it again just because it's too illiquid. And if I see a setup in the rails, I'll just probably trade it using UNP going forward. UNP, there's nothing wrong here. I don't see anything wrong. And the fact that CNI still has a squeeze tells me that there'd be more juice left in it. So the only way that this is going to be an issue is if the market rolls over and dies. But in general, this is the setup you want to see. And granted, we're looking at a companion stock here, but this is CNI. We traded earlier in the week. That setup is still completely rock solid. A couple more requests from the YouTube. GSK came up yesterday and also completely fine. Yeah, nothing wrong here. Recent thrust signals completely aligned. You buy pullbacks on this. And then let's round back to gold. Oh, shop, come on. It hit 82 and got scared. It's going to run back to mama at 81. 82 was pretty big resistance, though, for a while. So if it gets above 82, pretty quick snap to 83, but don't want to count chickens before they hatch. So gold here. Gold. Is this the buying opportunity? I think it is. If I was being the absolute best boy that I could be, which I probably should be, I'd wait for my arrow here, but that would complete it, because do we have a level? You see this cluster of stuff there? The pink line is the VWAP for the year. The blue line's a 50, the 21 is the green. They're all in the same place. So everything's here, right? So this is the spot. Squeeze looks proper. Proper thrust. Higher lows across a breakout. I'll tell you what, I'm going to wait for a 15-minute buy signal. And if I happen to receive said buy signal on GLD, one, if I had gotten stuck in this yesterday, I wouldn't be selling here. I'm actually looking to buy. So 180, what can I afford here with the small account? I'm going to go out to March. 187s look okay. But I'm going to front run the signal. I tell you don't do this, but I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do this in the small account, and I'll send out the trade. And will I have any regrets next week? So bidding 425 on the 187 for March. Let me type that up and send it out. 187 425 bid. You know what? I don't want to leave an open order out there. I'm just going to grab it. Work the entry though if you can. So because I'm going to do this in my small account, I can only afford one. I might go back in my larger account and buy more, but in the small account, I have a 5% budget. So that's one contract. Very exciting. Bought one gold. We'll see if I regret this. The setup is good and the level is good. And I think this is a discount price, so we're certainly not chasing. Lots of confluence of support around here. Plus daily squeeze, plus 3-day, 2-day squeeze, plus relatively early bull alignment on all. And I can keep a tight stop on this. I don't particularly see a reason to get a stop if on a break of like 187 at worst. I'm probably not good here. Let's actually find the level. I'm going to say 186 just to keep it safe. Daily mental stop will be a daily close below 186. So we're risking about dollars. So we're risking about $100 on the contract. Daily close below 186. Target breakout of the highs. RCB. RCB. Oh crap. Let me add this. This is in the small. Actually, I don't care. I don't have to add that. Just know that that's in my smaller count. If it matters to you, I put all my public trades in the small account, and then of course I take some in my larger account as well. You're having issues with the Judo scans. Yeah, we can run some scans. Tesla's getting smoked, as is tradition. I'm telling you, Elon made some powerful enemies. Judo. Let's look for bull judo. Let's run the scan. So Oracle came up yesterday. That was interesting with bull judo. So let's take a look at some of these. So missed the conversation yesterday in terms of what bull judo looks like. It is a signal immediately canceled out by an opposite signal within 1 to 2 bars. So judo signal is right here. That's the. So that came up yesterday, but snow is in play today. So let's take a look at that one. Aha. Now this one could be a screamer because snow has a huge breakout pattern. I mean, this takes you to 220. So as far as I can tell, Popeye, the scan seems to be working. Maybe you can shoot me an email. But also, don't turn me into technical support, please. I beg you, for my mental health, not turn me into technical support. And the simple answer is, and take this the right way, I simply just don't care. Right? We have an entire team for you if you need technical support. Now, if you need trading help or why the hell are you buying gold, then I'm your man. But if it's like, oh, this isn't working, support at simpler.com. Man, this is a spicy meatball. Right? I have to admit, snow is spicy. This one's spicy. I don't have something I can do with it other than just close my eyes and buy it. I'm just gonna have to keep an eye on this one, but this one would rank out extremely highly. Like, although Mara had a setup, I trust this setup a little bit more. And this setup takes you into this 220, 223 level. So it's spicy right now because it's like, what do I do with it here? You're quite far away from any type of reasonable entry. But if you don't care about taking any heat or straight momentum chasing, this is the spot to do it. So that's judo. PWR we'll check out, and PSTG we'll check out. We still have that open PSTG that never got filled. Oh man, and this is another one that's a kind of a beast. This one's even better than snow. Well, although I haven't been very big on scanning in my career, just because at my best, I don't actually branch out too much. I mostly, at my absolute best, I mostly trade the indexes. These scans are certainly paying dividends because these are two very monstrous setups. Snow and PSTG, so those definitely hit the mark. And then one more we'll run, which is power, PWR. The worst setup that's come up, but an interesting one because it has judo with a squeeze. I don't recall ever trading this, so let me get the chain. I'm sure it sucks. And it does suck. So this is one that if you like this kind of stuff, you'd have to trade it on your own. The rule of thumb that I'm going to run with from here on out is I need at least 50 open interest per contract. Now this one does have it for the March series, but its volume is nothing. It's traded 3 at the money. So what do I do here on this stupid thing? What to do? What to do? Do I even do anything? I'm just going to pass on it. I have to filter things out. I see the setup. It probably makes money. It's not as liquid as I want. Let me check the volume. Trades 1 million shares a day. $200 stock, 200 million. I could sneak it into my parameters. I think at the very minimum, I would want to do like 250. But yeah. So long story short, you asked me to run this. The scan appears to be working. Now let's run the other scan real quick. We'll run Max Bull. See if anything pops up. All right, Shop's making another run for that 82. The C was angry that day. Pins, yuck. CNI, we already know about. CLVT, STNE. These are all the same ones that came up yesterday. What we can do to get more results is go here. Keep an eye on this STNE. This is one. This one in CLVT. I looked at these yesterday. Again, these are outside of filter, but if you or TG or someone who doesn't care about liquidity, this is the setup. This is actually quite a monster setup, right? You have your almost max bull, green squeeze, flag. I just have to be okay with not dating every girl. Pinterest. Ooh, who would have thunk it? Pinterest actually has a max bull setup. A stock I never, ever look at has a max bull setup. What do you know? Chart has been, my goodness. Now, granted, it didn't give you the pop until after the report, but ever since then, buy it again, buy it again, buy it again. Not a single sell signal. That's pretty clean. Pinterest. I would have never guessed. All right, so the list is small but incredibly high quality in terms of setups, not necessarily companies. Snow, PSTG, Pinterest. I think I like all of those more than I like my gold trade. Let me look at Pinterest a little bit more closely here. Tipper proper. I can feel my ass kicking in because if this said A and it had this exact signal, I would already have all the calls in the world. All right, let me see if I can find something here on the pins. If for nothing else, just the little run into earnings kind of. So it'd have to be next Friday. I'm just gonna verbally call these out. I got to true to myself here. I don't feel any particular need to chase any of this stuff, even on a Friday. So I'll let you know the top three things that popped up: Snow, PSTG, and pins. If they were closer to support, justify it. I really could. With Pinterest, I would want the 15-minute 21. That's 60 cents away. So I'm going to hold off on risk. We already have Shop, which is, I would imagine, to some degree pins adjacent. We still have Goldman, and now we have gold. So, and the only reason I bought gold is because it's on disc today at a major level. So while Pinterest has a formidable setup, I mean, truly, actually, like surprisingly formidable. I never look at Pinterest. I have no idea how they even make money or why anyone uses Pinterest for any particular reason. I can't deny that it has a 40 perfect bull plus squeeze on both the daily and the 2-day. So that is actually quite proper. So I'll just repeat the top ones that popped up here: Snow, PSTG, and pins. It's on Google. Well, Don, what do you? I think you have the indicators, Don. What do you think I'm going to tell you here on the Google? What does it need? Do you have a level? You actually do. What do you need? Probably something right there. So this is a lot like Tesla, right? Buy it at the 21, buy it at VWAP, buy it at the 50. You don't have a momentum turn yet. So Google's pretty simple. Wait for an hourly high signal. If you don't get that, just wait. No big deal. I broke the screen on my freaking MacBook. And I didn't even do it in a good way. Like it hit the wall. And it's not even cracked or anything. It's just flickering. It's driving me crazy. I asked my friend who works at Apple. I'm like, hey, do I have Apple Care? With 100% certainty that I did not. And it turns out I actually do. It's like, what the hell? I actually have insurance on one of my products. What the heck? Good for me. Cure. Yeah, this is it. Yeah, AJ, I know you have the stuff too. Yeah, thanks for the email though, by the way, AJ. It was you also pointed out the McDonald's issue. I don't know if the update's out yet. I don't know if I've seen it get posted yet, but you pointed out McDonald's here with the thrust signal. There was a bug here, and we did get that patched up. So you'll get that update probably by the end of the day. With Cure, Um, yeah, I mean, it has the signal. I would probably actually prefer to do Pinterest over this. I'd never have heard of this, like the volume. So it trades absolutely nothing. The options chain is going to suck, guaranteed. The spreads aren't terrible, but there's no one playing, so you're in here by yourself. If you're doing shares, I think it's fine. If you're doing calls, I think it's fine. But this isn't something I can necessarily trade as a group. Um, Also, I think if you're looking at something like this, the Pinterest setup. Not to say that these two are in any way related, but these have a similar chart pattern, and you can see how much cleaner Pinterest is relative to Cure. So keep in mind, we're not buying companies, we're buying patterns, and Cure actually has the cleanest pattern that I see. I'm really debating. Do I just get in here? Like if I was John, I think he would. If this was John and he had a signal the way that I have a signal here, even though you're not near support, I think John would just go for it. I'll hold off. I'll just give it until Monday. We have shop, so in some weird proxy way, we are exposed. But pins is solid. You thought I was never gonna look at C's again? I mean, somebody told you the girl you dated in college got really fat. Wouldn't you at least want to take a peek? Wouldn't the devil on your shoulder have you take a peek? It's kind of how I feel about SeaWorld. It's a different type of Shamu. PGR. I don't see anything to do here. I mean, you can buy it off the hourly. You're 3 ATR up. This stock doesn't necessarily have a great history of trading this high. If you look at the weekly chart, it actually, to my eye, it hasn't done this before. 3 ATR pulls back, 3 ATR pulls back, 3 ATR pulls back, 3 ATR pulls back, close to 3 ATR pulls back. Now you're trading above 3 ATR. So you're kind of going against the pattern here. There's no squeezes. You're not near support. When you get extreme, the high-low pro, how long does it take for the reading to have an impact? There's no like, oh, it happens within X days. You just are. It should just be a cautionary signal, right? It's kind of like playing music with chairs, and the music starts like slowing down a little bit. Like your ass should be looking for a seat. That's basically what it means. If you're out there fully max long when you have an extreme signal on the high-low pro and you don't have a plan, that is a recipe to get blown up, right? That's really the best way to say it. In order for the signal to matter, you do need a smaller time frame to trigger it, which we do not have. So the signal can burst, but it doesn't usually. So the way that I read it is just decrease risk or control risk using smaller times. You'll know a reversal when you see it. Neil's description of a reversal the other day is exactly what you'll see, and it is almost exactly the way this will end. You'll get a blow off kind of situation, a big up candle that opens at the highs and closes damn near the lows, right? On big volume. And keep in mind, like, and I can say this, I said it, but trading is like intercourse, right? It feels best right before it's over. And what will that look like? Something like that, usually. So you'll know it when you see it. Don't try to. You don't have to nail the top. I mean, you could trade 30 years and never nail a top or nail a bottom and make a ton of money, as long as you catch the 80, 90% middle. Gold is like your oil energy plays. You're done trading it. Fair enough. No, I certainly can get behind that. Take that one at your own peril. I have a plan on it. It's sized accordingly. I've done my job. It's a setup. It's on discount. I didn't buy it at the highs. I think the bond reaction today is BS. If it is, next week will show and gold will recover. It won't recover today. It's unlikely because you still have the shock reaction. But this is why I went out to March. But if you're not trading it, you're not hurting my feelings. That you think you're probably correct. What do I think of rare earths? You need give me a tip because I don't know what to look at. All right. Pinterest. I'm gonna have Pinterest on the brain the rest of the day. Yeah, this is actually a pretty strong reversal in the dollar here. So maybe the gold trade should be jettisoned. I can give it until Monday. I think mostly I'm less concerned about the dollar when it comes to gold and more so concerned about bonds. It really, gold is not necessarily a dollar story. It's much more a rates story, a real rate story. So dollar here moving, obviously dollar and bonds are going to move, they're tied at the hip. But really the real is ZB. So ZB down 2%. This is a big move. And in my opinion, and we'll see come next week if this has any validity, it's a little overdone. And if that is the case, then gold will be fine. All right, 4 big minutes left. Shop 82.17. Hate to see it. Adobe to 650. Well, I'm going to pull my Danielle hat, put my Danielle hat on, and run this retracement. Yeah, I mean the 1272 653. There's a 3-day squeeze. Everything's aligned though. So here's the thing: you don't necessarily need squeezes, right? Like squeezes are always kind of cool and everything, but can this setup just continue to go? Of course, because you have a max bull here, you still have juice here, you have juice here, tons of juice here. Once you punch this high, the next target 650. Your max bull, and your max bull. Yeah, I mean I don't love trading Adobe. It's not my favorite stock. I think I'd rather chase Snowflake, but if you have that history with Adobe, even though there's no particular squeezes here other than a 3-day, this is a breakout pattern. Was that a science? What, the sea was angry that day? Why, yes, it was. So many good setups. This is another one that's very tempting. I mean, it has a 4-hour squeeze, so you're kind of saying all the right things to me. And it plays extremely well with what Amazon reported, because as Amazon's, what was impressive about it was the AWS. This is a proper pattern. Let me look at the 2-day squeeze. This will be the last one we look at, I think, because this one was worth stopping and checking. So the 2 days max bull. Three-day max bull. Trade. All right. With this one, I'm probably just going to set something filled on a pullback. So how can we do this? Is 14 days enough time? Hmm. Okay. We can play ball with this. Probably won't get filled on this today. You certainly could chase this one. This one is very chaseable here. And in fact, ugh, why is it Friday? I'm going to leave an open order here. Let me type this up. Let me do it real quick. I only got a couple seconds left. I'm going to leave an open order here. Sell the 420, buy the 415 put spread, 420, 415 put credit spread, 250 is going to be the credit I'm going to ask for. I'm going to do this well in the small account. So bear with me just a second. I'll type it up. Proper one to end on. To be fair, Pinterest actually is better than this, but I happen to just see this pattern a little bit more clearly. So I'm going to sell the 420, buy the 415. 250 credit. Good, don't cancel. Cool. This one could just take off right here, right now, to be honest with you. This one really could. I might actually on my own have to trade this, but for the public trade, we'll go with that. So I think that's a fair price. All right, guys, that's my time. Thanks, Hans, for bringing that one up. That one's pretty clean. I like it. Aside from that, I'll catch you guys for the Friday video. Send all of your positive energy towards shop. May it take us to the moon. Actually, shop as of right now, as I speak to you, it's actually profitable. How crazy is that? From down 85 to profitable. So don't see a reason to exit that quite just yet. So we'll take that into the weekend. Same thing with Goldman, same thing with gold. And we'll see what MDB decides to do. That's a pretty solid setup too. All right, guys, that's my time. Look for the Friday video. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. See you Monday. Cheers.